friends and colleagues to the Full Voice Music live office hours. If we have not met, my name is Nikki Loney from Full Voice Music, and joining me and helping me today is my dearest friend and longtime friend and colleague, Mim Adams from the Full Voice Music team. Today, oh my goodness, lots of questions. We are talking about policies, and we are talking about updating policy. And my goodness, the questions that people had, I am going to do my best to get through all of them, but I'm also going to open things up for questions for anybody who has shown up today. I'm gonna do my best to serve you all well with good information. So I'm going to share my screen, and I want everybody to tell me that you can see. Can everybody see my screen? Yay! All right. So, friends, I gotta get rid of the magic cursor. I don't like the magic cursor. All right, here we go. So, live office hours, number 15. Woo, woo, woo. Updating your studio policies. Now, I just want to put, where's my chat? I want to make sure I can see the chat. Just for fun, for all my people in the meeting right now, using an emoji, how do you feel about updating your studio policies? Go for it. Is it something that brings you joy? Is it a gift? Is it pain and suffering? Does it cause you a lot of Jackie's like, oh! I feel that. Oh, Cindy's like, yeah, I got it under control. Oh my goodness. I love it. I love Tracy. Linda Fletcher also feels the same way. Oh my goodness. Terror. Good morning, Patricia. Ooh, Solange has like an angel. She's all for it. Somebody is dead. Okay, my friends. Well, thank you for that laugh. I needed that laugh. And our goal here today is to give you some inspiration, some guidelines, some ideas about updating your policies. But first, I want to just do some a little bit of housekeeping. If you're new to Full Voice Music, if you're new to me, my name is Nikki Loney, and Full Voice Music is a small but fierce music education company from Canada. We have a very micro team of professional music educators. We have decades of teaching experience between our entire team, and we have been creating resources for teachers working with singers for over 2 decades. Our resources are used worldwide, and we love connecting with teachers to share our resources and to share pedagogy as well as business strategies like this live office hours today. Now, our live office hours has been something we've been doing for a year, and we have been loving it. We get to talk about great topics and challenges in our teaching studios, and all of these presentations are based on the questions that we get from real live teachers in the trenches doing the work. So if you haven't gone to our YouTube channel, all of the recordings are there. We've had amazing guests. We have amazing topics. If you're needing some inspiration or updates on your on anything, just check out those recordings. They're really fun. Also, super fun, we always have draws and prizes at our live office hours. So for those of you that are joining us, you have an opportunity today to win a copy of Michelle Marquardt DeVoe's ebook, which is called The Art of the Inquiry. Now, this ties in really beautifully with updating policies, because this is about onboarding. This is about screening this is about welcoming new families, screening potential students. And this ties in really beautifully with your policy updates. So this is our prize today, and we're going to be giving away a few of these. Now, before I dive into things, I do want to let everybody know that this month at Full Voice Music, we have some really amazing opportunities. We have one of our most in-demand workshops, which is our play-based learning, engagement, and lesson pacing workshop at the end of the month. And for our North American teachers, all our teacher bundles have free shipping. So our Happy Singing Teacher Box, our teacher bundles, the Songs and Studies box, all come to you with a big hug. And I want you to know that Katrina at the distribution center she's been our printer forever. Katrina loves throwing in extra stickers and bookmarks and music. Like, she just is very generous. So just know that there's a lot of love coming in those. All right. That's the housekeeping, and we're going to get started. You're going to need pencils and lots of paper because I'm laying on a lot of information. I do want to tell everybody that you're doing an amazing job. Before we get started, for those of you who are feeling the pressure of updating policies, I want you to know that teaching is challenging. It's as challenging as it is rewarding. And on top of that, we have to think about the business aspect of running our studios. Anytime you are providing services and taking money, policies and how we run our businesses is part of our day-to-day administrative tasks, and it can really be overwhelming. And I appreciate all of your questions. And what I loved from all of the questions coming in is how you're trying to create incredible businesses. So we are here to support that. So let's start about what policies are and are not. So, and this helps to clarify and maybe take away some of the ickiness that people were feeling with their emojis at the beginning. So first of all, policies are not just a list of things that piss you off. There, I said it. Policies are not a list of rules. It's not a sign that you're being mean or strict or snobby or whatever. And one of the most important things is it's not a one-size-fits-all template. So when you are writing policies, know that you're going to customize. You're going to customize for your studio. My dog is barking, so I'm going to shut my door. The robins in our yard really make her angry, so she has to bark at them. So your templates are unique to you. So make sure that you are writing templates that serve you and your studio. Now, the other thing, and I'm so guilty of this, like when I first started teaching and running my own studio, they are not something that you just write once and think that you never have to address again. I looked at an old policy and was like, oh my gosh, is that what I'm handing out to my parents? Ooh. And it's also important to know that policies aren't just for your families and your students. They also help you set up your business and protect your time and your boundaries. So they are a two-way street. Now, what policies are a reflection of your values and your teaching style and your studio. They are one of many different communication tools that helps people to understand how they do business with you, and it helps to manage expectations, not only for you, but for your families. They are a boundary builder, and well-written policies should be protecting your time and your energy. This is a living document. It needs to evolve and grow. Even little changes and tweaks to it can go a long way to helping protect your time and to build that business. And it is the foundation of running a business that you actually love. If you are burnt out, if you are exhausted at the end of your year, we have to take a little bit of ownership in that we put that energy out there. So this can really help us streamline how we want to spend our time, where we want to spend our time. And as painful as they may be, they can actually help us in the long run. Now, if you were in North America, This is actually a really good time to reflect on your past year. So I know a lot of my American friends, the school year kind of wraps up in May. Here in Canada, school kind of wraps up the end of June, and our summer is July and August. Whenever you finish a term or wrap up a season is a good time to check in. So before you write anything or change anything, here are 5 questions to ask yourself to help you update your policies in a really productive way. So the first one is, how did your policies support or drain your energy this year? Something to think about. How do you feel? Are you feeling pretty good about your year? Or are you really exhausted? Teacher burnout is a big issue for so many of us. Here's the next question. Were your policies clear and easy for families to follow? Did you have a lot of questions that kept coming up and up? Did you have people bump against certain things? Was there something that just really was challenging for people to wrap their heads around? The other thing is your tuition payment structure working for you? This is where you have to do the maths. You have to do the maths. Math. Did you add up? Did you have this many students, but you only made this much money? Take a look. Compare what you should have made to what you actually made. Look at your expenses. Look at the hours that you worked, and then versus the income that you made. That's an important thing to do. But this is an important check-in. Oops, I did one too early. I'll do both of them. Did you have strong boundaries, and did you stick to them? Or did you find it really difficult to talk to people about what they were doing wrong? Is there something in your policy that you're finding really difficult to enforce? That's a good check-in. And again, wrapping up, does your policy reflect the kind of studio that you want to run? Building a business with intention takes a lot of consideration. You have to ask yourself the hard questions. You have to be willing to sit in some uncomfortable stuff for a while, but there is always, everything is figure outable. There's always ways that we can improve our offerings, our policies. Now, I want to dive into some of the specific questions that people had. The first one I love. What are the must-haves and what are the leaves out? Like, what do you leave out? What doesn't need to be in your studio policies? This is a great question. And again, it's unique for everyone. But policy must have, these are the things that create clarity, boundaries, and trust. Obviously, your attendance and cancellation policy, payment information, lesson expectations, not just your expectations of what you expect from students, but what families and students can expect from you. Communication guidelines. This is one of those ones that we want to spend some time on. How are people going to contact you, and do you have boundaries around the times? Even a simple email, like we only respond to emails at this time and this time. Do you want to be answering texts at midnight on a Friday? That can be really stressful. That's part of the emotional labor that we're constantly doing sometimes. A studio calendar for busy families is so helpful. If you've got a busy studio, when you do exams and you have festivals and you have recitals and performances, getting this up front, planning it out to the best of your ability helps families to commit and to understand all of the opportunities that are coming, that they have, that are part of your fees or your tuition. Parental involvement. This is really important if you're working with children. Families that are new to music lessons don't know how to support their kids, and they often need some guidance. So how do you work with families? What do you expect from families? This is really important, and this can help manage parents' expectations. This can help answer a lot of questions. Social media practices. If your studio has a social media channel, do you share videos or pictures with students? You have to have permission to do that. So you would want to have that information on there. Now, social media permissions, you probably need another form that people sign. And we want to be very respectful. Some families are really open about sharing pictures and videos of their children, but other families have very strict boundaries of what they want. And a lot of families don't want their children on social media. You need to be respectful of these. So please make sure that you're taking that seriously. Code of conduct, respect policy. If that language around how you expect to be treated can be in there. And then health and safety. So health would be how, like, what, if somebody is ill, how you handle illness. Do you do makeup? Do you do online lessons? What is your parameters for that? And safety has to do with any details about getting in and out of your studio, right? Where they park, where they enter, like those things are really important. When I was working at the church, there were some scary roads, and there were places where I did not want students to be dropped off, and I needed parents to understand that. And I actually would walk families through, do not park on this road ever, ever, ever. And I was really concerned about health and safety is very important. Now, things that you might want to leave out: overly legal or intimidating language. First of all, you're not a lawyer, all right? So don't make it really technical and legal and punishment oriented. Intimidating language doesn't need to be there, and it won't serve you. It won't serve you well. So an example of that is, if you do not practice, you will be removed from my studio, or something like that. Instead of intimidating language, I would always encourage teachers to kind of switch that to, if you are struggling with this, we need to talk about it so I can help you, rather than here is the punishment and this is what is going to happen. Excessive details on every scenario, no life stories, no war and peace novels. Again, if you want people to read them, leave out all the gossip and juicy details out of your policies. You never, ever, 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 ever need to apologize for boundaries or cancellations or changes. There's no apologies. This is a professional document. It is not guilt. And how you feel bad. Any long-winded explanations or things that just don't need to be in there. And also, you want to look at your policies for any outdated or unused sections. If it's something that you don't offer or something you're not enforcing, remove it. Some things that don't need to be in there don't need to be in there. Now, this can be overwhelming, and if you've been in teaching for a while, you've probably rejigged your policies, you've probably cut and pasted things, you've taken an idea here, an idea there. All of that is great, but here is the question that I got a lot, and I love this. Is less better or more? Do we put less in our studios? Or how do you know if you are including too much information in your studio contract? These are really good questions. Thank you for being aware that we are all dealing with a lot of information overwhelm, and clear and concise does not mean overly detailed. We can write in a concise way. Here is my top tip. And I love this. Ask ChatGPT, or if you're using Gemini for Google products, ask AI, copy and paste your studio policies. You do not need to have a paid account. You can have a free account and it will do just beautifully. And ask it, here's some prompts. Can you simplify and shorten this section? Can you tweak this policy to make it clear and concise and easy to read? I have done that with emails to the website tech team that's working on our website. I have so many questions, so many things. I'll barf everything out, and then I'll copy it into Chat GPT, and I'll say, can you please rewrite this email so that it is concise, it identifies the issues, and it is easy to address. And it always rewrites it so beautifully with point forms and bolded things. And I'm like, I love it. And I love it because we pay the website guys by the hour. So if AI can rewrite my emails to make them really easy to read and answers all the questions and asks all the questions, I love it. We can do that with our policies. Whatever is bothering you about your policy, ask the chat, ask Gemini, whatever AI system you're using, and ask it to tweak it or rewrite it, and you'll see wonderful opportunities. The other one, I like this question. How to have solid studio policies without turning off new prospects. So first of all, your policies they're not really your marketing tools. However, here's a couple of thoughts. Policies can be written with positive, friendly, and professional language. However, if the way you need to run your business does not align with a potential client, then this is exactly what you want your policies to do. You want to avoid the problem people. And like, it could be as simple as you don't teach lessons on Fridays, and that's the only day they can take lessons. It's important for them to know that. Or if you have a family that is overcommitted and knows that they're going to not be able to take lessons consistently, and your policy is a no makeup lesson policy, that's something that they need to know. So when we're writing our policies, again, it's establishing our business and how our business works. Our business isn't going to be a good fit for every person that comes along, and that is 100% okay. You only have so many hours in a day. You can't serve everyone. Now, the other question that I got again and again and again was, how do you get parents to read your policies? Now, Melissa's like, yes, how do you do it? Well, first of all, I want everyone to just check in. We are all guilty of this. All of us are guilty. We are inundated with so much information, texts, emails, social media, Facebook messages. I am the worst baseball mom ever. I am the worst. The team manager has to check up on me with an additional private message that says, Nikki, did you see the email I just sent out? I am the worst. But how do we get people to read our policies? This is a good question. Here are some strategies from the worst baseball mom on the planet. Your policies can look nice. Just like designing a website where the eye flows and picks up all the important things, you can use your logos, your brand colors, use clear, easy to read fonts and headings. Organize the sections so that it's clear, and if they're looking for specific information, they can scan it. Very important things, you can use icons, call outs, you can highlight something with a text box, put a little arrow beside it, right? You want to save it as a PDF. Don't send a Word doc. Word docs end up looking awful. They can't be opened by all programs. It's a hot mess. But that goes a long way with helping people to read your policies. If they look like your mortgage documents, nobody's going to read that. If it's just paragraph after paragraph with no white space, it's a lot. go to Rage Town. If somebody sends me an email and it's really, really, really long with no breaks and no headings, I get so angry, and I will often I'm not going to answer that right now. I don't have time to do that. So ask yourself, are you overwhelming people with a lot of information in like a very plain looking document? Because if they can't scan it, they're going to just not look at it at all. All right. And again, we're all trained to do this. Our devices, our phones, our computers, our tablets have all trained our brains and our eyes to scan the page for information as quickly as possible. So help them by creating a nice looking document. You can do this in Canva. Canva has some beautiful templates that can help you get started. Now, additional options that are really helpful. One, a welcome message or a mission statement at the beginning is very helpful. And if you have specific things that you need parents to really understand, create like a checkbox page or a section where parents have to check the boxes and then sign. Those are really helpful. And that again can bring their attention to specific things in your studio. And I just wanted to show, this is mine from a few years ago. I recognized that a lot of families were new to music lessons, primarily singing lessons, and did not understand the value of them. So my first page of my policies was, did you know these are all the benefits, and this is a great investment. So I had a whole bunch of new students whose families were more involved, were very involved in sports, and music was new. So I wanted to help them to understand that this bugs me so much, but a lot of people think that singing lessons are kind of fluffy, right? Oh, we're just singing. Help them to understand that, no, this is serious stuff. We're doing things, and your students are learning, your daughter, your son are learning a lot of really important skills. That goes a long way to help people understand what's going on. Should I send policies over email, hard copy, or both? Yes. You should print them. You should have a digital version. You should go over them in person, asking if they have any questions and highlighting any important things. You should maybe even use a pigeon carrier. Maybe that would surprise them. I wish we had owls like in Harry Potter. That would be cool. If you're using social media for business, I see teachers do this all the time, and I love it. You can put reminders on your socials. You can remind people, friendly reminders, fun posts about, registration fees, whatever. At your recitals, when you're talking to people, make sure you can, just a friendly reminder, of the upcoming term. Here's what's going on. So talking to people and making it available either if you have a login thing, like in the student portal, or on your website. You should have your policies where people can get their hands on them and ask questions about them. So yes, print, digital, hand them, have a face-to-face conversation, send them by owl, talk about them, remind them. So the more you communicate, the better. All right. I got this question a lot. How do you deal with parents who just ignore policies, or parents who get resentful for you asking to be paid, dealing with parents that are constantly breaking the policies, but you don't want to let go of the student because you like the student? So I have a couple of suggestions for this. And we have to back up a little bit. Your question is making me ask you a question. This goes back to onboarding your students and having those initial conversations about what they want and how your studio runs. So I truly believe that most families aren't trying to be jerks. They are unsure of how your policies work, how your payments work, and they need to be reminded. So I would start there with friendly reminders. Unfortunately, if you don't have payment systems, if you constantly have to remind people, money and paying things and being asked about money brings up a lot of feelings for people. And sometimes, yes, they redirect those icky feelings back at the person that's making them feel bad. This is not your fault, and this is something that we can actually avoid by having better systems for payment. But if you have someone who you have spoken to, you have communicated your policies, you have reached out, and they are still unable to meet your policies, you do have to say goodbye. And I know this is hard. I know this is challenging. It seems like you're punishing the child. It's not about that. But somebody the other day was like, they owe me 3 months worth of lessons. You cannot extend yourself like that. So these are challenging conversations to have, but I always would stress that go back, and this is why we're giving away Michelle's art of the inquiry, because that is about building relationships, strong relationships, and it's about student retention, keeping families in your studio because they understand the value of what you're offering. So for those of you who are dealing with parents, again, this is a great opportunity in cleaning up your policies and in creating systems that allow you to avoid dealing with difficult people who aren't going to follow, and getting systems set up so you don't have to deal with this. So the other question was how to explain the reason for raising your rates or raising your tuition. So we just had a couple of months ago one of the most intense live office hours with Michelle Marquardt DeVoe, all about pricing, fee structures, and group offers. And she broke down the economics of why we charge, and how we set up our businesses. And she held our hands with love, but she also called out some really bad behavior and some teacher hard truths. So this is where you want to start. If you are struggling with pricing your offers, if you want to really dig into different fee structures, I am going to talk a little bit of tuition based today. And if money and pricing really from a foundational level makes you ill, please listen to podcast episode 177 with Michelle, all about making peace with pricing. These are helpful. So if you like to watch a video, the live office hours, or if you would like to check out the audio podcast, you can do that on any podcast device. Please check out Michelle's stuff. She's so good and has helped so many teachers to level up their businesses and to really start to build those incredible businesses that are sustainable and a passion for the teacher. With that being said, what billing method is best for studios? This is a good question. I request payment made at the first of the month, and then we have the families who forget, and then we have to send out the reminder email. How do we automate that part? This is a great question, and there are quite a few new systems and services that are available. I will always recommend My Music Staff. It's a Canadian company. It is a very comprehensive platform with invoicing, lesson notes, a website. If you don't want to do a big website, you can do a smaller website through My Music Staff. This is where credit cards and accepting credit cards is probably your best bet. Now, I know the arguments here. My Music Staff is $15 a month, and when you take credit cards, there are credit card fees, so you don't get all of that money from the credit cards. So this is where you have to decide, do I invest in software and allow the convenience of credit cards for my clients, Or do I want to be doing the administrative and spending the time on the administrative things that these programs offer? Do I want to spend my time doing that? So while you are investing and paying to use these, the reason for that is to free up your administrative time and make it more convenient for people. Again, worst baseball mom on the face of the planet here. Any of my son's activities that are not automatically charged to my credit card, I will forget. I will forget. I don't know what day it is. I don't know my son's name. I'm like, you dog. No, you're not the dog. You're not Sean. Who are you? I don't know what's going on. And if things don't automatically happen for me, I'm going to need those reminder emails. And I've been reminded twice to pay the baseball fees because they weren't automatically on my credit card. So those programs. Now, there are other systems. FONS, FONS is another automated system for invoicing. There is also, if you have you want people to sign up and pay. I think actually my music staff now does that. Is anybody here using my music staff? Yes. They just did. Oh, Miss April, I love my music staff. I charge my families a $2 transaction pay when they pay. Yes, absolutely. You can charge a fee for sure. Some businesses do that. Some businesses don't. Absolutely. Some teachers wrap that just into like their tuition fees, like an additional charge. Like you can do that as well. But I think April, do they now offer you, like if you have students that need to book and pay, can they do that? I know they were working on that feature. Does anybody know? You can throw that in the chat. I'm not sure. I'd have to look. I haven't done that. But if you need something more like a book and pay, Acuity offers that type of your schedule can be up there. They book the type of schedule and then they pay at time of things. So there's lots of different methods and services that allow us to do that. Okay, moving on. Fees, additional fees. Should I charge a summer retention fee for most of, for those of you that have like a academic year and then a summer break kind of thing? And then I'll come back to this, but the other one is a registration fee versus a deposit. I charged a materials fee. I charged a materials fee at the beginning of the year. It was $50. It covered a workbook, the music that I would purchase, flashcards that I was using, a handful of sheet music. Like, it was just easier for me to provide my students with those products than ask parents to go out and source them themselves. But let's go back to the summer fee, retention fee. Again, there are different ways that you can do this. You can charge like a pre-registration. You can ask people to pre-register. The problem with charging a retention fee, again, you have, let me clarify. I'm thinking about all the fees. Let me start with a general statement. If you need to charge additional fees, it's not about whether or not it's acceptable or not. It's about how you explain to people why the fee is there, what it is paying for, what it is entitling them to. Does the summer retention fee guarantee them a spot in the fall? Are you going to give back the fee if they cancel before a different date? Is that retention fee then go towards their tuition or their lessons in the fall? However you choose to do it, it has to be clearly defined and people have to understand. So people are asking, is it acceptable? It is acceptable to charge whatever you need to charge as long as you communicate the reason for the fee and what it is, what service or what it is providing for the families. If they understand that, then you shouldn't have any pushback on it. And then the same thing about this one, registration fee versus deposit. Many children's activities charge a registration fee. There's a lot of sports. I know hockey charges a registration fee. Some baseball associations charge a registration fee. And then there's an additional fee for tournaments. And then there's an additional fee for is extra training. As long as it's all clearly defined and it's working for you, you can choose what works best for you. Now, the question here, does one option over another negatively impact retention or adherence to policies? It's all in the communicating. It's all in explaining to families why these fees are there, what they're set up to do, and what the purpose is and why they're getting charged. If you can communicate well why you are charging these things, then you shouldn't have a problem with retention. Now, a family that doesn't like all of the registration fees might choose to go somewhere else, but most businesses, especially after school enrichment type programs for children, are charging some sort of fee, whether it's an administrative fee for a new student. Maybe you get a welcome package with your, I remember when we signed Noah up for karate, so there was like a uniform fee and a registration fee, and that was just to get him into the system and get it started. So, do you have students' parents sign the studio policies in order to create a contract? And the other question was, is having parents sign legal and binding? This is not a legal contract unless you have a lawyer write it for you. It is an agreement. It is an understanding. So when people go against your policies or are not following your policies, the only thing you can do is have a conversation or a friendly reminder, and 9 times out of 10, a friendly reminder is all that is necessary. If you're still struggling, then a conversation is probably needed. And it doesn't need to be a terrifying thing. A friendly conversation usually solves the problem. This is the big question too. How do I update my payment policy to switch from a per lesson monthly payment plan to a tuition-based plan? And then another person asked, what are the pros cons of single monthly rate versus charging by each lesson? So same kind of question. So for those of you that have looked and done your overview and you've looked at your year and you're realizing that your current payment model isn't serving you and you're looking for other options, know this. There are a lot of different types of studio policies and how you can set up payment and for your services. So good for you for looking for a better way of handling things. So let's just talk about a tuition-based model. So switching to a tuition-based model is a smart move for stability, boundaries, and income consistency. But it is a big mindset shift, not only for families, but for teachers. So if you are making any big switches, you need to be clear, confident, compassionate when you are communicating. And just so you know, there are also many benefits for families within a tuition-based service. They just don't know it yet. So when you make a change like this, you want to approach it as an improvement to how your studio runs and how they do business with you. And they're going to have questions, they're going to have concerns. So when I moved from a pay by the lesson, which is like a monthly, at the beginning of the month, they pay you for what they're going to get, but then they tell you they're not coming in and you have to do makeup lessons, all of that. When I had a really miserable year of cancellations and too many makeup lessons and a Christmas that didn't happen because of illness and absenteeism, I knew that I had to make a change. And I did all the research. I rewrote my policies. I checked in with friends. I had people read them over. I researched. And at the end of the year, in the last lesson before my little summer break, I sat down with the new policies and I said, I am making big changes to my studio and I want to go over with them with you first. And I had conversations, face-to-face conversations. And because there's always a lot of worry for families that they're not going to get what they paid for, that's how I started the conversation. I want you to know that you are not going to pay for things you're not going to get. Sorry, you're going to pay for things that you're not going to get. This is not you paying more for less services. That's how I worded it. And I went through how it worked. So I talked about why there was a change. I also talked about what tuition covers, and I expressed to parents all of the extra work that I do outside of lessons, the administrative time, the finding music, the printing the music, all of those things, the apps that I was using, the high-speed internet that was now in the studio, all of those things are part of the tuition fees. I walked them through, what do we do if we miss a lesson? Well, first of all, you don't freak out, because I have flex weeks. And there are specific weeks where people can come in to get an extra lesson if they missed one or if I canceled one, right? And then I went through, there's no credits, there's no refunds, but here are the options for missed lessons. And I talk about the school year, how many lessons, and it was great. And yes, I had lots of questions. I only had one family that was like, no, it's not for us. But if truth be told, I'm pretty sure that family was looking for any reason to get out of my studio. They just weren't loving it. So switching, any big changes, whether it's tuition, whether it's your schedule, whether it's anything, requires probably a conversation and clearly going through. If you just send an email going, hey, there's some changes and here's a copy of my new policies, you're going to get what you're going to get, which is probably a lot of angry people wondering what's going on. So that hopefully is helpful. Now, I have two very specific questions. I don't know if these people are here, and I did want to address them, although these are pretty detailed, but I think stuff like this comes up in our studios a lot. First of all, I have a hard time transitioning from the academic year to summer term and billing. Some of my students are done at the end of May, some are done mid-June, some take fewer lessons over the summer. I have an equal monthly tuition for 12 months, but some people are getting this and that. And I'm just going to go to the last sentence here. There are a lot of variables to figure out each year, such as what works, what keeps the income flowing, and what alleviates confusion. This reads to me as someone who has a big heart and is trying to accommodate all of the needs of all of the students, instead of clearly defining when the sessions are and when the sessions are not. So my recommendation, if you are struggling with people coming and going and the end of the year, is to clearly define, lessons are from here to here. Maybe you're a studio that takes the summer off. Maybe you're a studio that offers a different type of package in the summer. I did a lot of adult advocational lesson packages. Come in for 4 lessons in the summer, have fun. So by clearly defining when you start, when you finish, when your recitals are, what happens in the summer, I think you can alleviate a lot of the confusion. This just reads as somebody that's allowing people to come and go as they please. This is also, by clearly defining your terms, helps families a lot. And I would like to say, with love in my heart, asking people to commit for a year is a that's a challenge. We don't go to school 12 months out of the year. Breaks in your terms can be really helpful. And although it can be a little more thought for how you keep consistent income, there are ways to do that. There are different ways that you can do that. So again, clarity and boundaries in when you start and stop will alleviate all of this. So hopefully that was helpful. Secondly, thoughts on placing changes for 1 year with the current policies. For example, I plan on extending my makeup credit policy for 1 year only to 4 lessons a year rather than 2 lessons due to some scheduling issues of my own. I plan on striking through the 2 lessons and writing 4 for this year, but returning to the regular policy of 2 year. My thoughts are this allows the customers to view the regular policy change for that 1 year so that there are no expectations of extra makeup credits the next year. Oh my word. Big breath. Whew. If what this says to me is and we do this, teachers are really challenging. This is a challenging thing. So what I want to say is, this reads of somebody that has not put enough flexibility into their policies to allow for life, whether it's illness, emergencies, bad weather. I think in general, having a you need to set in allocation, and that's why I like flex weeks. I took that model from Wendy Stevens of composecreate.com. Great website, lots of great information about business related things. Flex weeks are the end of the term where you open up days for makeup lessons, and whether you canceled a lesson, whether they canceled a lesson, whether you had horrible ice storms for a week, those flex weeks allow you to make up those lessons. Now I want to share, and it's just after Father's Day, so I'm going to keep it together. My dad passed away very suddenly, and I am one of the things that I'm so grateful for is that my lesson policies had flex weeks. So when I took the week off to deal with all of the things with losing my dad, I didn't have to worry about my families, and my families didn't have to worry about missing all these lessons because they knew that there was time scheduled at the end of the term to make up those lessons. So instead of switching things up and going back and flip-flopping back and forth, which is confusing AF. Sorry, I said it's live office hours. Create flexibility in your policies because you are human, right? We all are going to get sick. Put a little thing in the chat, put a hands up if you have taught when you should have been at home sick, when you should have canceled. How many times have you extended your health or your time or your mental health because you were terrified of missing a lesson and dealing with makeup lessons? Now, I would also say this for anybody that has more complex medical or health issues, and you know you're going to get sick. Yeah, Susie's like, yeah. I taught lessons. I should have been in a hospital one time. I won't go into the details. Yeah, you don't have to do this. I'm giving everybody a hug from Nova Scotia. You can set your studio policies to have flexibility. Your families want that flexibility. We all need that. Flex weeks are those weeks where there's no regular lessons, but it's all for makeup lessons. And again, if you're doing tuition based, it's just part of your studio, and that's how it runs. So everything is figure outable, and yes, you can stop setting yourself on fire to keep everybody warm. All right, my last thought: be professional, patient, and clear. explaining your policies again and again, reminding, friendly reminders, gentle reminders, happy reminders is part of your job. And you can do it gracefully, kindly, with a smile on your face. And that is part of building a respectful studio culture. So, Erin says, I also offer virtual lessons for the students. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Virtual lessons. I mean, I'm not teaching, I teach all online now when I am teaching. And I'm so glad because like Nova Scotia was ice storm capital this year. There was no way nobody would have made it to my house for like 2 months. So yes, there's so many ways to support our students. Taking the time to create and modify and then educate your families about why you're doing these things and the benefit. Erin said, yes, 30 snow days. Ooh, I know. It was a rough year. It was a rough year. I think both ends of Canada got some really nasty weather. Okay, thank you so much for coming out today. Thank you for these great questions. I want to celebrate everybody for coming today, for finding the time in your busy schedule, and for taking the time to do the hard things. These aren't the fun things like celebrating music and singing and all of those things. These are the hard business things that require a different focus. And it does take courage and questions, and it's okay to be uncomfortable and sit in that uncomfortable. What is the saying? Like, if you want to level up, you got to be okay with being uncomfortable for a while. So thank you for doing that. Okay. So I want to share this. This was great. I put my policy into ChatGPT while we were on chat, and it prompted some changes. I love it. Yay. Awesome. Awesome. I want to send everybody all the big hugs. The world is heavy right now. And I know there's a lot going on. And to my American friends, I want you to know that we love you. We know you're going through a lot. We are praying for you. We are hoping that things are going to turn around and change. Full Voice Music is here to help teachers no matter where you are. I know that holding space for our students right now can be really hard. And I just want to let everybody know that the work that you are doing is so incredibly important right now. Helping people find their voice, helping people find courage in their voice. Right now, I know I'm biased, but I think it's probably one of the most important things that all of us are doing right now. And I want you to know that it makes a difference. You might not know the gifts that you are giving to people, but it's huge. So from all of us at Full Voice, we are sending love and hope and prayers and best wishes to everyone. And we are here to help you. And you can reach out at any time. Nikki, Nikki, at Full Voice Music, or hello at Full Voice Music. We're always happy to help. And I hope that we will see you. Mim, have we decided what the topic is next month? I don't think we have.
Nope, we don't have a topic yet.
Okay, well, I hope we'll see you at the next live office hours. Big hugs. And Linda Fletcher, can you hang out for a second? Because I have a quick question for you. Linda Fletcher, by the way, Linda, say hello. Linda's one of our composers. Linda writes beautiful music, and we love sharing her music here. So I have to talk to her about stuff. But anyhow, for the rest of you, thank you to all. So many tips. Thank you. Love Linda's music. Oh, you got a shout out. Again, we are with you. Thank you, everyone, for your kind attention. Have an amazing afternoon and a great week. Thanks, everybody.